What is going on, everybody? ZyoniK here, and in today's video we are diving into the Great League with Shadow Kanto Ninetales, and I'm pairing it with Lanturn on the lead. They make a really strong core in this meta, and because I've seen, me personally at least, I've seen far more Superiors and Venusaurs out there in the Great League than I have seen Swampert this season. Might be different for you guys, but that's at least what I'm seeing. So I'm running Registeel as well as a safe swap to help counteract against the grass type Pokemon. And if we do happen to face off against a Swampert, for example, at least Registeel, at least the combination of this team can work together to take that down. So let me know what you guys think about this team. Let's go and get right into it. All right, getting into the first battle here, we have Lanturn on the lead versus Shadow Alolan Ninetales, and this is going to be a Charm variant, so I have to bail out of this matchup, and I do come in with Registeel, and there's the Swampert. Alright, so this is obviously going to be a very tough battle to come back from. I'm going to go ahead and go for Focus Blast, and they no shield. That is huge for me. Obviously, my opponent doesn't know that I have Ninetales and Lanturn. Maybe that's different for you if you guys try this team, but for this battler, they have no clue. So I decided to let Registeel go down, delayed boom, boom, and come back in with Lanturn and hope that I can get this Surf off, but I don't. So I have to no shield. This is the most devastating destruction of my team, but I have to let it go. I have to pray that Swampert was the only hard counter to Ninetales and that Ninetales can sweep. So we're going to go ahead and swap back into the mirror fight, Ninetales versus Ninetales, and they're staying in. This tells me that they are extremely weak in the back, and I'm just going to go ahead and look to commit to the farm down, and sure enough, there is a Registeel back there. So we got rid of Swampert. It boomed my Registeel. It boomed my Lanturn. But I trusted in Ninetales to try to win this game for me. Now, it could have worked out differently, right? There could have been a Lanturn back there, for example, right? And then it's over. But you'll never find out if you don't risk it for the biscuit, am I right? So we're going to go ahead and shield right here and just basically fast move down. And this is going to be a good game. The Ninetales doesn't have enough energy, and Ember is just going to absolutely shred it. And that is going to be a good battle, very well played. Alright, moving into the next one, we have Lanturn on the lead versus Trevenant. Very tough lead matchup, and honestly a tough Pokemon to deal with this team. So we're going to go ahead and swap into Registeel. This is a better matchup in terms of the damage that we can do, because Shadow Ball, we can still survive, and Zap Cannon at least does quite a bit and can potentially apply that debuff. Now they swap into Medicham, so this is hard. This is like game one, Swampert, we got lucky. I think that they weren't anticipating. Game two, we got a Trevenant and a Medicham. So let's see what we can do. We got to come back in here with Lanturn. Again, full faith in Ninetales to potentially sweep this game. It's actually my wife's favorite Pokemon, which is why I'm giving all my faith into it. And we're going to go ahead and look to go for Surf now before they get to another Psychic or Ice Punch, so that this can KO the Medicham. And then we're going to unleash that Ninetales right here. So we're going to go ahead and swap in right away. And they are once again not swapping. This is what I have found. Opponents' teams are core broken by Fire-type Pokemon this season. A lot of the times, right? There's Superior and Steelix. There's Registeel and some kind of grass, so a Trevenant, for example. A lot of teams, or an ice, like a Alolan Ninetales. A lot of teams are core broken by Fire-type Pokemon, whether you use Charizard, Talonflame. In this case, I'm using Ninetales. They look to be performing pretty well, and that's because there are so many grass-type Pokemon coming in that the Mud Boys are kind of gone. Not completely gone, obviously, because people still use them. It's just a matter of what you see. But this is the trend that I have been seeing where I'm at, is a lot of grass and a lot of core broken to Fire-type Pokemon. So we're just going to go ahead and take this thing with Ninetales. Trevenant's not going to be able to get to another charge move, and that is going to be a good game, very well played. We had a lot of fun with Ninetales today as we take out the Trevenant, and that is going to be a good game, very well played. Alright, moving to the next one, we got Lanturn versus Defense Form Deoxys. Okay, we'll have to see what they have in the back. But Lanturn right here can do pretty decent against the Defense Form Deoxys. We're going to go ahead and go for the Surf. My thought is if they do have maybe a Dugong in the back, they might want to shield early to maintain health on Defense Form Deoxys, but they decided not to, so unfortunately didn't get a good shield bait right there. And in comes a Pancake. A Unova Stunfisk safe swaps on me. And I'm thinking to myself, it's over. It is over. And they shield. I'm like, it's so done. I don't even think I can come back from this game because they've invested shields and they're so far ahead on energy. This is bad. Now it's rare that a Stunfisk is being used. I mean, I used it the other day for fun, but I think out of this whole season, the only time I've seen a Unova Stunfisk was when I used it and maybe one other battle earlier on. So this is the second one that I've seen. But my gosh, it just destroys. You're going to have a bad time if you face off against this Pokemon and they invest shields and energy into it. Obviously, this team is core broken by that. I'm not trying to say this team is better than everything else. This team is about fun and it's about catching on to trends. And the trends that I have seen is Serperior and Venusaur. You and I both know that because of the updates that we saw this season. So, and Alolan Sandslash is extremely meta, which is also why Fire-type Pokemon are doing so well. So, I'm trusting in Ninetales right here to try to make something happen. But unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to farm down in time, and they will probably invest a shield right here as well. So this Pancake just swept me. It felt so bad. I know the Swampert one, we were able to come back, but this one is like, it's devastating. So they will take us out, and that's just going to be a wrap. That's going to be a good game. I do get the farm down, so we did take out the Stunfisk in a 3v1. We got it, and they have a Mandibuzz in the back as well, which makes a lot of sense. Defense Form Deoxys Mandibuzz core is pretty strong. It's just really interesting to see the Stunfisk there. I definitely was not expecting that. I was expecting maybe a Dugong or an Umbreon. So good game to my opponent as they do take us out right here, but no risk, no reward, and sometimes you get wrecked. So that'll happen. Alright, moving to the next one, Shadow Venusaur. Alright, so this has been more of what I've been seeing. We swap into Registeel. Now, Shadow Venusaur this season is actually pretty strong, and it pairs very well with Azumarill and Dugong in the meta that we have. So we're just going to go ahead and let the Frenzy Plant go through, and them staying in is a tell to me that they are weak in the back, obviously, right? They don't want to be staying in against the Registeel. Our Zap Cannon resisted does more than their Frenzy Plant. It's a lot of damage. So obviously my thoughts here for Team Read is potentially Dugong and Azumarill or Lanturn as well. Those three I think could be viable options back there, and sure enough the Dugong comes in, which we are able to land a Zap Cannon against, but they will get a farm down on me. So now I have to make a call here. I have to make the call that it is in fact Azumarill in the back or Lanturn, and that I need Ninetales to soak a Drill Run right here. It's not going to KO, but I have to save shields for my Lanturn in order to win this game. And they do get the back-to-back, so we're making the call. It's going to be risky. If there is a Medicham back there, it's over, but I'm going to go ahead and swap out, and it was an Azumarill back there. This was a team that I ran earlier this season, which helps out, right? If you've run a team before and you can kind of recognize it, you got 2 of the 3 pieces, you can guess with some high probability what piece number 3 is. It's not always going to be, but it's a good educated guess, and sure enough, making this call was huge as they do swap into Venusaur, and now this is a very dangerous game because this is a Shadow Venusaur, which means Vine Whip is just doing that much more damage. Thankfully, Spark is as well on my end, so I'm just going to have to try to take out this Venusaur as best as I can. I will give up shields, obviously. Lanturn is my last hope as my Ninetales is basically out of health. So what we're going to do here is I do have a charge move loaded, so I'm going to go ahead and swap. So I will swap, throw the Weather Ball here to take out the Venusaur as they're stuck in this matchup because of how late they swapped against me. And now Azumarill will be able to bubble me down, but it's only one fast move, so that means we should be able to spark down as they won't be able to get to a charge move in time, and that is going to be a good game, very well played. We still had a shield as well. Alright, moving to the next one, we got Lanturn versus Bastiodon. Okay, so let's see what they got here. They decide to safe swap. It's going to be Sableye here on the safe swap. So what I want to look to do is, I have good answers in the back, right? Ninetales is not, right? It can still do good neutral damage, but it's not a great answer just because of Smackdown. The Registeel is. So what I'm going to try to do is go for a Surf to see if I can get a shield, but they don't. So I'm going to go ahead and look to just commit to the farm down now. I can safely give up one shield against the foul play here, and we should be able to spark down in time thanks to the damage boost that it got this season. So we do get a very good spark down. We maintain switch advantage, and let's see what decides to come in. It's going to be Victreebel, which is tough. I'm going to go ahead and go for Surf right here. I should have gone for Thunderbolt. I'm going to get taken down anyways. But the Surf at least does some good chip damage, and now we can go into Ninetales and maintain switch advantage, and now Bastiodon comes into my Registeel comes into their Bastiodon, and this is going to be a good game. There's really not a lot they can do. I mean, the switch clocks are aligned as well, so I'll be able to counter swap right away. It's just a matter of how much damage these flamethrowers are going to be doing, and if Bastiodon can get to 2 to take me out. Granted, I do have a shield left, so I can easily shield. If Bastiodon can get to 3 before I get to 3, which is just not going to happen. But the question is, will they catch the next one? That's the risky thing, because look at the switch clock right now. You can see the switch clock down at the bottom where the Ninetales is. It's faded out. That clock kind of moving around is the timer. So switch is up. I'm anticipating them swapping, and there it is. So I'm going to go ahead and fast move down. I should have loaded back up to Focus Blast now looking at this. And now I'm actually going to go for double Weather Ball. I feel like Overheat wasn't going to be enough, and I didn't want to lower my attack for Ember. So now I'm actually I have to pull off. I thought I was going to be able to get to an Overheat right there, but I got to go for another Weather Ball in order to get them low enough where I can do one fast move, and that is going to be a good game, very well played. Alright, moving to the next one. We have Lanturn on the lead versus Gligar. Okay, so Water Gun obviously would be very nice in this matchup, but thankfully we still have Surf. And Gligar can be a core breaker for this team, but it's not a devastating core breaker. It's not like the Unova Stunfisk, because the Gligar here, it has to land digs, and we're resisting the wing attacks as well. So I'm going to go ahead and let this go through. It is going to be the dig, and we'll have to see what they have in the back, but they do decide to swap out. It is going to be Defense Form Deoxys, which is an interesting safe swap. It's actually, I think it's actually a pretty good one overall in the Open Great League. I just haven't seen it used a lot lately. So it did take me by surprise, but I do have the Ninetales that can handle the Gligar. So we're going to go ahead and come in with Ninetales and just load up on energy right here. This is a good opportunity for me to get a lot of energy. And Ninetales with energy in an opportunity where it potentially can't be resisted is very devastating. So let's see what they decide to come in with. It's going to be, I'm guessing, the Gligar again. It is going to be the Gligar, so we're going to go ahead and go for Weather Ball. This would have been a chance for me to potentially go for Overheat, but I thought they might be shielding. They didn't. Overheat would have been beautiful right there, but I am able to get to another Weather Ball in time. And this is where things get really spicy, because Ninetales just goes on an absolute tear. Now, they do decide to shield, so I'm going to go ahead and shield as well. And then I got to be ready to try to catch a charge move. My thought was maybe they're weak to Ninetales in the back, but they weren't. They had Medicham in the back, and that's why I swapped. I thought maybe there might be like a Trevenant or a Superior would make a lot of sense. A Grass-type Pokemon to pair with the Gligar, which is why I decided to swap out to see if we can put them in a very tough position. But now, against this Medicham, things are getting very dicey. So what I'm going to look to do here is actually make an interesting call. This is just Ice Punch. So I'm going to instead of throwing Zap Cannon, I'm going to throw Focus Blast and I'm not going to KO the Medicham. I told you things get spicy right here, and the logic behind this is I can come in and fast move down with Ember, which allows me to get to the Weather Ball, but they have a charge move ready to go, and I don't think it was enough energy for Dig. It's just an Aerial Ace, which allows me to survive, and because I was able to get those 2 Embers against Medicham, I'm able to get the Weather Ball off, and that is going to be a good game. Very well played. Alright, moving into the next one. We have Lanturn on the lead versus Lanturn. Okay, so for this matchup, I think it's okay to soft lose because our team on the back end, you know, the Ninetales obviously doesn't like Lanturn, so it might have more favorable matchups in the back. We'll have to see what they have, though, but ultimately, I think this is going to be a good call of soft losing this lead and loading up on energy with another Pokemon. So we're just going to go ahead and go for Thunderbolt here. They decided to no shield, and I'm going to see if I can get to another one in time, which I do, but I lose CMP tie. And so I'm not going to give up a shield here. I'm just going to soft lose. It is another Thunderbolt. And now this is, I have to come in with Ninetales because Lock On is just not going to do enough damage. So I got to come in with Ninetales, and I'm going to need to shield a Surf, which isn't ideal. I would have loved to get a clean farm down, but this is a lot of energy. That can go a lot of places. So we do take out the Lanturn, and let's see what decides to come in. It's going to be Pelipper, even worse. Like there, we're going to go ahead and go for the Overheat, which does land. That's a ton of damage. We're going to swap out in Registeel, and they got a Ninetales in the back. Thank goodness. So they had Lanturn and Pelipper, both of which do extremely well against my Kanto Ninetales. But Registeel right here is about to put on a boom clinic because the Kanto or the Alolan Ninetales, there's 18 tails in this game. It only has Powder Snow, so the damage output here is not enough to make a dent in Registeel at all. It is very resistant to these charge moves and fast moves. So we're just gonna go ahead and go for another Focus Blast. They decide to no shield. Switch Clock is coming back up. So what I'm gonna look to do here is swap into Ninetales to catch the charge move. And the reason why is my Registeel is close to another charge move, and I fast move down the opponent's Ninetales, and I didn't realize that at the time, which is why you guys are going to see a decision here in a second. But because I'm shielding Weather Ball, I get to my own Weather Ball, which forces their final shield. You're kind of seeing how this is mathing out. My Registeel is very close on energy, and if this Pelipper does not throw another Weather Ball quick enough, I take them out with Ember and Weather Ball. So they throw the next charge move. I come in with Registeel. Now I'm thinking, I'm not throwing the charge. I'm thinking the Ninetales is still in the back, which is why I built up that much energy and waited just before Pelipper got to another Weather Ball. Good game. Yeah, I wasn't aware that Ninetales went down to that Ember. I was anticipating it still being back there, so it would be a race to another charge move. Now, we landed a very good lead, and we have an interesting safe swap where we don't have a hard answer, but we have a powerful one, and that is going to be with Ember and Weather Ball here in this matchup. We just have to watch out for the Psychic. Now, they decided to let that go, so I'm going to kind of calculate here if I can actually commit to the farm down, and I think I can, considering how much damage Ember does. Excuse me. But that was a Ice Punch instead of a Psychic, which forces me now to throw, because if it was a Psychic, I think I get the farm down, but it wasn't. So we get a shield right here, and now this is the tough call. Do I double shield? And I'm thinking not. Because I think Registeel can come in and just slap this Medicham so hard that it forgets that it's a counter to a Registeel. And here's the reason why. Pelipper was on the lead, right? So it can't come into Registeel, and if it does, they're weak in the back. So let's find out. It's gonna be Pelipper. So now we're gonna go ahead and go for Zap Cannon. This obviously one-shots, and I'm very curious to see what Pokemon number 3 is going to be. We're gonna go ahead and look to stay in, and I'm gonna see if I can catch the charge move, but I don't. And it's a Whimsicott in the back. This is a bit tough, and Makes sense why they came in with Pelipper because, well, their core broken right here. And Pelipper was their best answer, and Whimsicott's a good answer to Lanturn. So it actually makes sense on their team building side, right? If you have a Pelipper lead, you need an answer to Lanturn in this meta. That's just a fact. So I'm going to go ahead and give up a shield there on Seed Bomb because I want to get this Whimsicott low enough where Registeel can come in and farm down with Lock On again. So this is going to be a very dicey game as we will go ahead and soak this Seed Bomb. And now, let's see if we can get to the Surf in time, and we do, but on CMP tie, that is so unfortunate, as they will throw the Seed Bomb and take us out. Registeel coming in, but Pelipper does not. It does! It had enough energy right at the last second, but this Weather Ball does not KO, everyone. It does not KO. Do not doubt the Trash Can, because now Zap Cannon, obviously, you love to see it. Boom! It's Lock On versus Fairy Wind, and Registeel takes it with like 7 HP because it's Registeel. Good game. Alright, moving into the next one. We have Lanturn on the lead versus Galvantula. This is a tough one. This is a tough one. I do have two really good answers in the back, so we're going to go ahead and just swap out into that, and they do come in with Shadow Machamp. I haven't seen this Pokemon in a long time. But thankfully, I get to the Zap Cannon here before they decide to throw a Cross Chop. And I hope this lowers the attack, which it does, so that Lanturn can do a bit better at soaking the energy that it's going to get from loading up right here. So Cross Chop will take us out. We're going to go ahead and come in with Lanturn. And again, this is another one of those situations where I'm hoping we Core Break. I'm hoping the Shadow Machamp is the hardest answer to common counters to Galvantula, which is typically going to be Bastiodon and Carbink. So that's my hope right here. So we're going to go ahead and go for the Surf, and let's see if the Ninetales can sweep. As the Surf will take out Shadow Machamp. We're going to go ahead and swap back in, and no, there is a Bastiodon in the back, wall face back there. So this, unfortunately, is going to be a good game. For as good and as fun as Ninetales is, it's not when it faces off against a Bastiodon. As you can see, Overheat just doesn't do enough. Weather Ball as well, not going to do enough. I should have gone the other way around. Should have thrown the Weather Ball first. But yeah, we're going to have Galvantula come in, or the Lanturn come in. This is going to be a good game. Galvantula just has too much energy and too much health for me to be able to come back. So a triple hard counter right here. But that's okay. Sometimes that happens. And like I said at the beginning of this video, this team is not immune. No team is immune to being hard countered or facing off against losses. But what's important, and what I hope you guys recognize from my videos that I share with you guys, is there's ways to overcome some tough situations. Like I showed you guys today with Swampert. Like I showed you guys today with the Trevenant team. But overall, pretty fun day with this team. Alright, final battle, I believe. We have Gligar on the lead. So once again, pretty decent with the Surf damage that we can do. Again, Water Gun, if you guys decide to run that variant here on Lanturn, does do pretty well. But I liked Spark for the Azumarills and Dugongs that I thought were going to be a lot more common. So we're going to go ahead and look to let this go. As Dig does a decent amount of damage. If you guys are watching, you're like, why is there a Gligar on the field? And you're kind of hanging out here at the end of the video. Firstly, I appreciate it. Thanks for sticking by. Secondly, Dig got an update, so it lowered the damage and drastically lowered the energy cost. And Aerial Ace got an update as well, lowering the energy cost. So Gligar instantly became the #1 Pokemon in the meta. Now, they decided to try to bait me with an Aerial Ace there, and now they're going for 2, which I was fine with soft losing this lead. So I'm going to come in, I think I decided to come in with Registeel and try to lock on farm down, because even if I get hit with a Dig, which is likely going to be right here, the Focus Blast Zap Cannon combination on the backside is going to be so devastating that it's gonna make up for it. So let's see, they come in with Lanturn, and this is obviously a great and tough situation all in one. It's great because it's not facing off against my Ninetales. It's tough because my Registeel has very low health. So we're going to have to be giving up shields, but I decide to actually not and risk it and try to get the Focus Blast. But they swap into Sableye and blind swap into Sableye instead, and now Ninetales is going to go on a spree. Now, the reason why I decided no shield there is I thought I could get the Focus Blast to get the KO or get shield number 2, which wouldn't matter, right? With the Ninetales facing off against a Spark Lanturn, 2-0 shields, it doesn't matter. With Sableye now, we're in a very good position where we can farm down with Ember because they let it go through. So now it is Lanturn versus Ninetales, and they are out of energy. So we're going to go ahead and go for a Weather Ball first to see if we can get the shield from our opponent. If it lands anyways, it still does a good amount of damage. We did get the shield, so now I'm going to go ahead and shield myself, obviously, and go for the Overheat here for the beautiful Boom to secure the game. So that is going to be a good game, very well played. Ninetales doing a beautiful sweep here at the end. Boom, down it goes. Good battle. And overall, this team was a lot of fun. Like I told you guys at the beginning, it is weak to Swampert. It is weak to Unova, Stunfisk, those Mud Boys, for example. But you can fight back, right? So say you're saying, oh, it's also weak to Galarian Stunfisk. Well, we got Surf, we got Focus Blast, and we got Ninetales. So it's those Steel grounds are completely manageable, like a Steelix. The Water grounds are a bit tough, but again, I saw way more Grass Pokemon than I saw in the previous days and matchups and whatnot than I saw Swamperts and Mud Boys. So overall, I think it was a really fun team. Kanto Ninetales, I think, could be implemented on a lot of different teams in a lot of different ways. I think it's widely slept on, but it's also a fan favorite. So definitely give it a try if you guys have not. I would say Ember as well is probably worth the Elite Fast TM overall, just because of the energy and damage that it can output in terms of the move cycles, as well as compared to Fire Spin, which is its other fast move. So I think it's worth it. So hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and like always, I'm losing my voice. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.